Hi, this is a swift how-to on repairing the regulator that comes with Briggs and Stratton's 4-stroke petrol engines. In my case, this one is labelled 394890, but it's also 691188 793360 as well. Okay, to get into the electronics, you need to get at the unit itself. It's encapsulated and potted in a polyurethane gloop mixture. To access it, the easiest way I found was to hacksaw away the sides and the ends. The sides, you can be fairly safe with that. There's nothing running right up against the sides of the box. The two ends are rather more critical, as you can see on the earlier photo. At the top end, so the opposite end to where the wires are, you're very close to the devices themselves. You have to be careful about dropping a hacksaw blade down there. At the wire end, again, you have to be careful because there are components there. Okay, so the best way I found to get rid of the polyurethane is to first of all mechanically get as much of it off as possible. I used a Dremel with a coarse burr to graunch most of it out, and then the second stage, coat the unit or coat the bits with paint stripper, wrap them up in aluminium foil, leave them for several hours, and then it's much easier to mechanically move it off, rub it out, get the stuff off. If necessary, give it multiple coats of paint stripper, even leaving it overnight. Then you end up with a reasonably clean board, as you can see from some of the photographs. There are 3 screws holding the devices in. As you can see, they're all T10s. The 2 holding the big transistor light devices are at the tops. The center device has a hole through the circuit board. You need to excavate that to get at it. There are 4 main active devices on the board. A pair of 2N6397s, which are thyristors. There is a single Zener 1N5241, and that's an 11-volt Zener. There are 2 small transistors that turn out to be high voltage bipolars, MPS A92s, and finally the block in the middle, which is a pair of MR2504 rectifier diodes on a single common chassis. My problem was the thyristors. One of the thyristors had gone. I actually mechanically broke one of them when I took it off. It may or may not have been the original reason for the failure. Don't know. Don't care. So I found 2 replacement devices, soldered them in, and the next stage was to reassemble everything. All of the backs of the 2 major components are coated with silicon heat transfer paste. In the case of the center device, this is insulated from the main chassis with a piece of mica, and both sides of the mica were coated liberally with the heat transfer paste, and then everything was firmly screwed back together and taken to be tested. So, reinstalled on the tractor, not yet repotted, but in the state that we can test it. So, battery volts 12.76, turn the motor on, get everything running, and it slowly climbs up to 13.58. So, charging voltage, I think we can call that a success. So last stage is to repot it. I 3D printed a case, but you could equally use any other form of putty or paper or what have you, just to keep the potting compound in. I used an epoxy potting compound, actually some epoxy glue that I wasn't very happy with. It's a fairly rubbery version, which is probably quite suitable in the circumstance, and it's also easier to remove if in the future I ever need to extract it. So I just poured the stuff in and allowed it to set. The stuff you can see around the outside of the yellow box is hot glue gun, which I used temporarily to fill up any of the gaps whilst the potting compound was pouring and drying. So, thanks for watching if you've got through to this point, and hope it helps if you do one yourself. Don't forget to subscribe. I may have some more in the near future, but until then, cheers.